How come every Freemason I've ever met is super knowledgeable about ancient Egypt stuff?
I think we all acknowledge it goes back to that. I mean, so one of the things that happened is when the Templar Order was formed, it was formed about 1096.
Yeah.
By 1118, it was setting up shop in Jerusalem. And then from there, they went down into Egypt, and they set up a commandery at the Temple of Isis at Philae. And in fact, if you go to the Temple of Isis at Philae to this day, there's Templar crosses carved all throughout the temple. So you'll see the Egyptian hieroglyphs and stuff, and then you'll see the Templars, put in their crosses too to mark their territory. But they, and then from there, they spread out to all the major temples in Egypt, and they were doing study and research. And in fact, there's even a room. If you go to the Temple of Seti I at Abydos, there's a room there that is closed to the public. But if you're able to get into it, it has a depiction on the wall of one of these arks, like the Ark of the Covenant, that the Egyptians were transporting. It shows a pharaoh, presumably Seti I, holding his hand out with a mound cake of this white manna, which was this monoatomic substance. And then you'll see graffiti of 3 red Templar crosses done clear back in the 1100s around the ark that was depicted on the wall. Are there
images we can find on the internet of this?
No. I have images of it.
You do?
Yeah. I don't have any way. I don't know how I could get it to you right now.
Is it on your phone?
Yeah.
If you could send it, can you send it to me and I can give it to Steven? He can throw it on the TV. We can look at it.
Sure.
So you've been in this temple?
Oh, yeah.
And you said it's not open to the public.
Yeah, that room is not open to the public.
And why not? Why wouldn't it be open?
There's a couple reasons. One is because of the red Templar crosses on it. Mm-hmm. The Muslims, it's a Muslim country still. Egypt's still a Muslim country, and they're not, they're not comfortable with the cross being depicted anywhere.
Really?
Yeah, that's that's one, because they don't believe that Jesus died on the cross. In the Quran, it says that someone else was. It says that the people were taken in by an appearance, but here we go. Hang on.
So this is you.
Yeah. So and then you see those 3 red crosses on the wall.
Yeah.
And then between them, I mean, it's pretty faded, but
he can zoom.
Yeah. If you go up between the crosses, the 3 crosses, that's an ark right there on the.
Oh, sure.
That's being depicted.
Ark?
Yeah, ark, like the Ark of the Covenant.
So how is it an ark?
Well, so it's a box that is
the Ark of the Covenant is in there?
Right. That's the Ark of the Covenant. I mean, it's a Ark of the Covenant. I mean, the Ark of the Covenant in the Bible was based on these arks that you find throughout Egypt. All the temples of Egypt at one point in time had one of these boxes. And we believe, from a Templar perspective, these boxes were they were electrostatic capacitors, and that they were a remnant of a lost technology from a pre-civilization like Atlantis.
Really?
Yeah, and that they were brought to Egypt to be preserved during the last cataclysm. And Egypt had these in all of their temples at one point in time.
Like, that's for real? That's real? Like, those are... How many of those exist?
Well, we have 6. The Templar Order has 6 right now, buried in vaults here in the United States. But there are others out there. I mean, there's supposedly one in Ethiopia right now, at a church in Ethiopia.
And how do they work?
What they do is they're built of multiple layers of acacia wood and gold, and they just start to build up static electricity within them. And when you put that mana in there, as a Templar, we're pretty sure we know what that mana is, and it's gold that's been converted into a monoatomic state, where it turns into this white powder that's the Egyptians have depicted all over their temple walls, and this mana is superconductive when it's converted to this state, and it causes things to weigh less. Like a container holding the mana will weigh less than a container filled with nothing. The same container filled with nothing. So it's causing a weight displacement or an anti-gravity effect. And this is why the mana was stored in the Ark of the Covenant, which would have weighed several tons, but 2 people could carry it with rods, right? Because it was causing the weight displacement. And we find the same word mana all over the ancient world associated with flying craft.
Really?
Yeah. So
where?
So like in India, these flying craft that are found in the Vedic texts are known as Vimana. In ancient Sumer, the flying craft that the Anunnaki or the sky gods were flying around in were known as Shimana. We find the same word in Polynesian cultures as being mana. And they said the mana was used to move their giant moai sculptures and stuff. In Buddhist traditions, it's not called mana, but it's called mani. Or chintamani. But it's
So I didn't know these languages shared similar roots.
They do, yeah. Which proves that there was there's the
It's the ancient helicopter.
Yeah, the middle
on the right. Yeah, right there.
Right there. Yeah.
God, that looks just like a helicopter, huh?
Right. You can see you can see some other.
Is that real?
Yeah. It's on a lintel.
That looks like Jeff Bezos' super yacht up there on the top.
Yeah. That's there at Abydos. It's at the Temple of Seti the First. It's on a pillar. It's high up, but it's near the entrance of the temple. And yeah. So
can you zoom in on that again, Steve? On another one, maybe a bigger one?
Yeah, so check this out.
Dude, look at that.
Yeah.
That's like some sort of moth or something, or a crazy
it's almost
insect on the left.
It's almost like so you can clearly see what looks like the Apache helicopter.
It looks like a helicopter, right? And then it looks like it definitely looks like a submarine below it.
Right.
And then the thing on the top, yeah, it's either like a hand, like an elongated hand, and it kind of looks like a yacht to me.
Yeah. Well, so it's got a wing, so that it's almost like a fat plane, and then down below it is it almost looks like that thing that Luke Skywalker was in the first movie, when he's going around.
Do we know when this was carved? Is there any way to find that out?
I mean, there's the standard archaeological explanation, and then there's the alternative theory.
Right.
The alternative theory suggests that it's.
Yeah, but there's got to be somewhere to date. There's no way to carbon date this.
No way to carbon date it. I mean, carbon dating is based on when things were burned in the area.
Right.
Things have been burned in the area for forever. So
yeah,
but some of the earliest pharaohs are actually buried in the backyard of this temple, so to speak.
Interesting.
And right below the temple, like literally in the backyard of this temple, is another area that's known as the Osirian. And the Osirian is arguably the oldest megalithic structure in Egypt.
That place is crazy looking.
Totally crazy. And it's all fit together like jigsaw puzzle. And it's...
you remember, Steve, do you remember when we had the Snake Bros on here?
Oh, yeah.
And they were showing us all those cuts of the Osirian?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then the water, they don't know where the water is coming from. I think it's probably a natural spring or something.
Yeah,
because originally they thought it was Nile water, but it's not Nile water, and it goes down. I mean, from what you see is just at the top of water level, but the water level goes down another 40 feet.
See if you can find an image of like the corner cuts of the Osirian, like where they show like the wall joints coming together. And the overlap, like it looks as if they just stacked all these stones in a big pile and then cut through them to create the negative space.
Yep.
See if I can find
Well, and those are, you have to keep in mind that each one of those stones is almost 100 tons, I mean, the big ones. So like this, this is like basically the backyard of the Temple of Seti the First at Abydos. And then, the temple was built up above it, and in that temple, that's where they had one of these arcs that the Templars found. And and that's also where those hieroglyphs are.
There you go.
Of the helicopter and the...
Is that it? That corner piece, it would have been one stone.
Yeah, it's usually the lentils.
We're having trouble finding it right now.
Yeah, you have to look at the lentils.
Do you know the conventional explanation to how those stones are cut there?
No, they don't know. To be honest, I mean, they know it's rose granite. They know it comes from Aswan, which is
500 miles away.
Yeah, and not only that, but you have to go over a mountain range,
right,
and then back down to the Nile if you're going to transport them. There's a lot of mystery surrounding it, and to this day, I mean, it's they don't know where the water's coming from. I'm assuming it's a natural spring.
Yeah.
But again, so at that level where you're seeing it, that water level, it goes down 40 feet.
Right.
Even below that, so it's a huge structure.
They gotta send scuba team down there.
Yeah.
See what's down there.
Yeah. It's I am under the opinion, this is just my conjecture, that they were taking the water from there, they're bringing it up into the temple up above, and they were doing alchemical processes in that temple. And they were extracting from it these monoatomic elements that would go into the ark, which would generate tremendous power. That's my take on it. Now, as far as cutting those stones... there is a process, and I recently revealed this to the Egyptian antiquities. There's a plant that grows near a lot of the monuments in Egypt, and its scientific name is dictypetalum. And if you do these alchemical processes to it that are taught within Freemasonry, where if you were to do that to acacia, you could extract DMT, but if you do it to this dictypetalum, what you extract is hydrofluoric acid. And hydrofluoric acid eats through granite. It melts granite. It melts
Does it really?
The silica in the granite. Yeah, and the only thing that stops that hydrofluoric acid are gold, lead, and beeswax. And so
they can't burn through gold, lead, or beeswax?
Correct. So I think, I know what they probably did with a lot of the etching on granite was they would create a beeswax, they pour beeswax over it, and then they'd cut out and create a template for what they wanted to be burned into the granite.
Interesting.
And then they just put a wash of the hydrofluoric acid on it, and it would eat away into it and etch it. I think this is also, if you go to Dendera, the Temple of Hathor at Dendera, there's these staircases that appear to be melted. And there's all kinds of conjecture about how they got melted. I think it was a hydrofluoric acid spill because they were doing that etching on the walls going up the staircase, and they must have had a spill, and it just melted the stairs. Yeah.
I had this dude on here named Jeffrey Drum. He has a channel called The Land of Chem in Egypt. He lives right across the street from Giza.
Yep.
And he has a super compelling hypothesis on how they used the pyramids to create chemicals. Like, he thinks there were chemical manufacturing plants.
Sure.
And he says even when you go inside one of those, I think it was a step pyramid maybe, he said it smells like sulfuric acid. Is that what it was, Steve?
It smells like ammonia.
Ammonia. That's what it was. Ammonia.
Yeah.
Yeah. He says that people, the conventional explanation for it is from bat shit, but he says it doesn't make sense because for some reason it wouldn't smell like that all the way. It smells the worst the deeper you get, like to the very deepest part of the pyramid.
Yeah.
And he has the diagrams of them, and he lays it out really well on how it would have made perfect sense for those things to be manufacturing those chemicals, and they would have been used to like create fertilizer, to spur the growth of agriculture and all kinds of stuff there.
I think there's something to that. They got these giant boxes down there too below the step pyramid, and they have almost like a cork on them. It's a stone cork, and you can tell they were like a pressure cooker type of deal at one point in time, so that steam could escape out. But if you tried to pull the cork out, it wouldn't. It wouldn't let you do it.
Right.
So,
and there was also these bowls, these giant bowls that are like at the, like somewhere like around that pyramid near the base. It looked like there was like these channels going through the rocks, and then these big like bowls that looked like they were there to hold the whatever sort of chemical or whatever sort of fluid was coming out of those pyramids.
Quite possibly. I mean, you have to remember Chem or Kemet was the ancient name for Egypt,
right?
And that's where we get alchemy from, from which, and then from there came chemistry,
right?
But it all goes back to Chem or Kemet, Egypt.
He also thinks that when in the Serapeum, like there's these scoop marks that are cut out of those big granite boxes down there.
Yep.
He thinks that they would have used these chemicals potentially to soften the stone to scoop out like cracks or whatever. Because if those things were using sound or whatever to like resonate or whatever, if there was like high energy in there, you wouldn't want cracks in there to fuck with the integrity of those boxes, so they would scoop it.
I think that was the hydrofluoric acid that I was talking about. Yeah, I think that's exactly what they were using. Yeah, and in fact, we even find, if you go to Aswan, the quarry where they got all the stone from, you can find the pocking from the acid in certain areas to this day around there. And then even the unfinished obelisk at Aswan, it has those scoop marks going down the sides of it. And I think that was just where they would pour the acid down, and
under it too, right?
And under it, yeah. And then that's how they would start to shape it. And I'm sure that's what was going on.
So back to the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah.
You said there's 6 that we have.
Yeah, there's 6 right now that we. So
are there any pictures of them online?
No. No.
Why are they so secret?
They were moved here. Well, first of all, they were moved here by the latest ones were moved here by about 1346 thereabouts. So what happened is that the Temple Order found all these. They found 6 of these arks. There was probably 100 in antiquity. I mean, just based on the fact that every temple in Egypt had one at one point in time, and which is clearly depicted on the temple walls all over Egypt. But anyhow, the Templar Order gradually amassed 6 of these things, and as well as other artifacts, and they spent time bringing them up into Portugal, into Scotland, where they were able to into France at one point in time before they were suppressed, and then they were making secret travels over to the New World of the Americas, and they had by the time the order was suppressed by 1314, completely suppressed by the Roman Church, they had already mapped all of North America by that time. And they brought these artifacts over and started, they formed alliances with certain indigenous native tribes here in the Americas, and they hid all this stuff. Part of the reason why Spain was so active in suppressing all these indigenous native groups here in the Americas when they started coming over is because they were looking for these artifacts. And they knew that the Templars had alliances with the indigenous natives. In fact, this is even the reason why when Columbus came over, he flew Templar crosses on his ship sails because he knew the natives would recognize them, and he was trying to trick them so he could find those treasures for Spain, and that's why Spain funded him.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so Columbus had actually figured out that there was something going on the other side of the Atlantic. He ended up pulling one of the Grandmaster's daughters actually out of a convent and marrying her to try to get the maps.
Oh, really?
To get over to the New World.
Ambitious fella.
Yeah, I mean he was driven. And then he went to Portugal and said, "Fund me to go to the New World." And of course they were like, we already know there's land on the other side. We've been traveling there, because Portugal was largely founded as a Templar state. And they were like, nah, no thanks. So then he went to Portugal's enemy, which was Spain. And of course Spain was happy to fund him. So
right.
Yeah.
So you said the Ark of the Covenants, they have acacia wood and gold.
Yeah.
And that somehow creates like a static electricity.
Yeah, it builds up static electricity, and especially when this mana, which is a monoatomic gold, is inside of it. What it does is that monoatomic gold is superconductive. And so
monoatomic gold.
Yeah, so as it starts to build up static, then it's discharged through the top of it, where the little angels are and their wings on top of the Ark of the Covenant. It discharges electricity. And of course, to the ancient people, they saw this as magic. They saw this as the presence of God. But this is also why, even in the Bible, it says you couldn't touch the Ark of the Covenant, because if you did, you would die, because it would shock you to death, right? And the only way to discharge that electricity is you'd have to take a rod, like Aaron's rod that's described in the Old Testament or the Torah. You ground it and drop it against the ark, and it would cause all that electricity to become grounded. So then you could open it up. But if you didn't do that, it could shock you. And this is also why. If you remember, or if you, I don't know how much biblical history you know, but like in the Torah or the Old Testament, it talks about Moses built this tabernacle in the wilderness to house the Ark of the Covenant, and he built this tabernacle out of all these wool curtains, right, and all this wool tent. Well, wool is also a collector of static electricity. So what all that did is it just allowed all that static electricity that the tabernacle was building up from the desert would then become condensed in the ark itself, which would then cause this static discharge regularly.